Don't be in a throuple with Jesus. Hello, welcome to this week's edition of Middle-Aged Millennial MILF Podcast, Mamm Podcast for all you insiders. Today we're going to talk about marriage. You know I love me some alliteration. Mamm does marriage. And I like to think that I actually have some good advice on this. I have had one failed marriage and one successful marriage that I am just celebrated 15 years. So I've kind of run the gamut. My parents had a very unconventional marriage, or maybe it was quite conventional because, okay, my parents got together because my dad was friends with my mom's brother. And my Nana liked him a lot. So she told my mom to marry him and they got married. I do think that they were each other's best friends. I 100% do. Clearly, they were together for 41 years. They loved each other, but I didn't see like in the movies. And that, I guess, I had my parents who I was like, well, I don't want that kind of a marriage. And then I had TV, rom-coms, 90s rom-coms, 80s, where it was very much love at first sight. They sweep you off your feet and you never see the next day. So I feel like I had a really skewed kind of view of love and romance. So, and also coming from an unhappy home, I think that I put everything on a romantic relationship. And I thought that that would be what would bring me happiness. That would be when I felt loved. That would be when I felt accepted. So it sucks because I feel like I spent so much of my time looking for that and making every boyfriend the one. And I remember in college, like, well, first off, senior year, our friend Nicole and Austin got married. And I was so jealous. I was like, nobody wants to marry me. And then I had a friend in college, Allison, who was engaged to somebody in the Navy. And I think I thought that was my way out. And I'm really disappointed. And I wish I could help little Sarah and be like, you don't need that. You could be on your own. I've never lived on my own. I always felt like I needed a crutch. I needed someone to be there for me, like a safety net. I feel like I dated in college and high school trying to make everyone the one. And that's the advice I like to give to the girls now is not every guy you need to go in dating thinking he's the one or trying to make him be the one. This might be a guy that you date and you realize that you love sushi, or this is the guy that you date and you realize that you're not an adrenaline freak and you kind of like something a little more boring. Like that is the whole point of dating, is seeing what you like in people and what you don't like in people. So you can know when you found the right person. And I feel like a lot of people try to make it work. Like I had a girl in college that had a shitty boyfriend and she's like, we're going to go to counseling. I go, save your fucking money. You don't have children with this man. You've known him less than a year. If you need, I am all for counseling. I am not that person. But if you have to take so many steps for it to work, then it's not the right person. Because marriage is work, but it shouldn't be work like that. So I just really, really don't want to see these girls waste their time with people that aren't worth it. And it also doesn't mean anything's wrong with them. You're just not compatible with them. Like my first husband. I wanted out of my mom's house. I was engaged before that even. My friend Allison introduced me to this guy, Jimmy, who was in the Navy with her fiance, Gilbert. I genuinely did love Jimmy. Aaron Cunningham called him Jimmy because he looked like Jimmy Neutron. But I really did love him. It was so weird. It feels like military guys always want to get engaged and married because they get more money. Like weird. Didn't end up happening. I remember my grandpa was like, if he's serious about you, he'll put $100 in an account and open it for you. And he did that. And then when we broke up, I went and fucking spent it at Abercrombie because I was like, I've earned this. So that ended. And I want to say within a year was when I met Ryan, my first husband. I met him at work, coworker. He was friends of a friend. He came in. I fell for all of it. He love bombed me, like brought me stuff to work. And like I said, I was looking for an out. And I think that he was looking for something too. His parents were getting divorced. We were both looking for something and we had decided that the other person was that. It was incredibly toxic. We fought all the time. And when we were dating, we got engaged within 3 months. And I really think it was just kind of tell everyone to fuck you. Like we were going to do what we wanted to do. He was a year younger than I was. I was 20. So, I mean, he turned 20 like a month before we got married. Like we were way, way too young. And it's bad when his own sister turned to me and goes, you don't need to do this, right? But I was stubborn. I wanted out. And I was like, oh, I know. It was not a good match. We did not have a lot of things in common. It was very toxic. He would like get mad at me and park the car and like take the keys and run off all the time. Like, I can't tell you how many parking lots I was just left in, why he just ran off and I had to hope he came back. Like, does he still do that? I don't know. It's fucking weird. It was fucking weird then. And if you still do it, that's really fucking weird. And we fought all the time. And it did get physical on both ends. I am not by any means saying I was this battered woman. I gave as good as I got, but we were so emotionally immature that that's how we handled things. We went up to Flagstaff to snowboard with some friends and got into like a physical fight in the front of the place. And they're like, you got to go. Like, we went all the way up to Flagstaff and didn't even get to snowboard because we got in a fight. And we got married. We moved into his mom's house. We took the main room, the master bedroom. She moved into a different room. Like, it was weird. We had no money. We were 20 years old. And she got weird about our fighting. So then we had to get an apartment. And so we got the apartment and things didn't get better having our own space. We got in fights. One of the most memorable physical fights was he threw a blanket over my head and punched me in the back of the head. And there was blood on my lips. And the cops got called on us to that apartment. And it wasn't after that incident. This was just a verbal fight. It was not a physical fight. So the cops didn't do anything. We didn't get any domestic violence. It was kind of just like, keep it down. But after that, Ryan was like, fuck these shared walls and we need our own house. I guess he wanted to, I don't know, be able to be mean to me in the privacy without any shared walls. And I remember being really hesitant and being like, buy a house? Like, that seems like a big deal. Like, I walked down that aisle and I can tell you clear as day, I remember thinking, well, I can always get divorced. That was what I was thinking on my wedding day as I walked down the aisle to a preacher who had cut off sleeves that his dad knew, was like a motorcycle guy. Like, this was not my dream wedding in a fucking gulch in Las Sendes, Mesa, Arizona. The dress was the best part. I knew this was not forever. I did not go in thinking this was forever. This was a means to an end. So when he really kept pushing the issue of the house, I was just like, that is really, I am tied to you. Like, that's hard to separate. And I was kind of dragging my feet and called me the N word. I don't know what that had to do with anything, but we ended up buying the house. And it was we got fucking, it was like 2006 we bought this house. So it was during the fucking bubble. We paid like $200,000 for the small ass house. It was a spec. And they were just giving shit away. Like, you have to understand what added to this housing crisis is they paid for us to get out of our lease in our apartment. They gave us a 42-inch TV. We got like $30,000 in something. Like, at the time, they really wanted you to buy houses. So we got in our little starter house. You guys have heard the story. He cheated on me. I went back to Drew. He found out about Drew. We got divorced. He drug it on forever. He went and got a lawyer. I went and got a lawyer, and she laughed at me and said, honey, you need to declare bankruptcy and move on. You don't have what are you two fighting over? Debt? But he got a lawyer and he was trying to like have me take the negative equity of the house. Like, the whole thing was really weird. And then finally it's like he pulled his head out of his ass. I was like 6 months pregnant, having to go to court and being like declaring like, no, he is not the father. Like, let's get that on record. I made sure I'm like, no, he is not the father. It is my fiance, Drew Strickland, who is the father. And we agreed, and we were going to, it was just so awkward too, because I was starting my new life with my new family. Drew and I were having a baby. We were moving in together. We were going to get married. And I had like this albatross around my leg, and his mom is super Christian. So they just wanted us to get married as soon as possible. And they couldn't because I was still married. Like, I know that to this day, that probably gets to her. It got to me too. Believe me, I did not want to be attached. Like, when you want divorced, you want to get divorced. And it is a pain in the ass, and the paperwork and the restraining orders. And it's not pretty. So please do not rush into marriage with somebody that you don't even like. It doesn't end well. And I think the favorite thing that came from that, though, is I called my grandma Peterson, my Catholic grandma who didn't really like me. She was my dad's mom. And I said, oh, okay. She had met him. We all went to the Grand Canyon together. Anytime I was with him too in situations like that, I'm like, God, you're just so embarrassing. I was never like, that's my man. It was always like, oh, that's my man. So grandma was like, Sarah, how many more times are we going to do this? I said, well, hopefully just one more, grandma. That I'm not going for Elizabeth Taylor numbers if that's what you're asking me. And when she met Drew, she goes, oh, you're the baby's father. Walker was 4. Walker was 4. We had been married for 3 years. And she said, you're the baby's father. So it was just, I came from a shit show of epic proportions. Like, why didn't they tell me not to marry this doofus? Like, but as a parent, like you should, like I think they wanted me out of the house. Like, I don't know. They wanted me out of the house. They didn't want me out of the house. They were very aware of how volatile and physical things got. And for my dad being Mr. Bluster, Mr. doesn't take any shit, he never did anything. He never stepped in. He never said anything. The only time he stepped in was I had left Ryan. He must have known it was a sinking ship because he started buying stuff. Like he just fucking came home with a Kia Sorento one day and was like, I got you a car. Because every girl dreams of a Kia Sorento showing up in her driveway. He ended up getting the new wife a Mini Cooper. How come she got a Mini Cooper and I got a fucking Kia Sorento? I may have stuck around a little longer if he got me a Mini Cooper, but the Kia Sorento was not going to keep me anywhere. So it was at work. I worked at the mall. And he came and just took my car because he had a key. We were separated. He took my car and he was holding the car that my grandpa got me hostage. I don't know why he still had the car. Like this was 16, 17 years ago. So it's a little hazy, but he parked like his car behind the car I was going to take. And I didn't care. Take the fucking Sorrento. I never wanted it. Like this was a decision you made without me. His dad would, I guess, do stuff like that. Like his dad bought a house and didn't consult with his mom. And that was like the kind of person he was or wanted to be. He idolized daddy, really wanted to be like his dad. Like I like to be treated as a partner. And that's what my grandpa, like put my Nan on a pedestal. She never worked. He never held her accountable. Like she was his princess. My mom kept saying that's what I wanted, but that wasn't what I wanted. I want someone that I'm a partner with, that it is 50-50 with Cristobal and we are sharing it and we make decisions together. And bringing me home a Kia Sorento does not that relationship make. So I didn't care that he took it, but I just wanted the car from my grandpa. And then his parents were there. Like it was so fucked. My whole family was there. His dad and his new mom were there. And Ryan was there. My brother was there. And poor Drew is there. Like, God bless him for sticking around. Like this was insane. And I remember my dad and Ryan's dad were like going to get in a fight. So my brother got in the middle. And that was the one time my dad was like sticking up for me. And he was like, I'm going to punch you in the face, Carl, if you don't get out of my way. Like you didn't say shit to him when I had a kidney infection and he left me on the side of the road at midnight on the way to the ER. But he parks his car behind my car. And that's when you decide to be a good dad. Like, no. There were so many reasons. And hindsight, I'm like, yep, I see exactly why I got in that shitty marriage. I see why they wanted me in that shitty marriage. I see they liked me because my mom cannot stand Drew. I don't know why. It's been that way since the beginning. I think she felt a shitty kindred spirit to Ryan because he was more similar to them than Drew ever was. And I think that they thought he controlled me. Because that's what I'm also learning is my parents think someone's always controlling me, not realizing that no one is controlling me except me. But okay, yeah, Ryan was controlling me. By controlling me, you means, yeah, he drug me across the fucking carpet and left me with a scar on my back. He sure kept me in line, Mom. Hope that was worth it for you. So that was my shitty marriage. Like he married somebody else named Sarah. Like he's moved on and had kids. I've moved on. And then my favorite part is to kind of drop that I have a first husband to people because Drew and I mean, we've known each other since we were 15. We dated when we were 18. We got together when we were 24. Both of my children belong to Drew because I would not have a child with Ryan ever. I knew, and that's the other thing. I know I should have thought that marriage was, treat it with the respect that it has. It's forever. But no, the only thing that's forever is children. And I knew that I would be tied to him for fucking ever if I ever had kids with him. And I did not want that. I wanted my kids to come into a world where the parents didn't hate each other. Like I said, my parents had kind of a unique relationship, and my mom complained about my dad a lot, and I didn't see a lot of love or romance. And that led me to picking the wrong partner myself. And I don't want that for my kids. So I wasn't going to have that be the example and be stuck with that person forever. So I had my children with Drew, who I love. And if you went back, like when we dated when we were 18, if you would have gone back, I wish we could right now. These versions of ourselves, I would love to be able to go back and be like, so guys, this is Drew and Sarah from the future. And you're going to end up getting married and have, and just kind of go everything in our lives, because I know both of us would look at these older versions of ourselves and be like, fuck you. That is not my, I no, I love Drew, but an 18-year-old Sarah would have been like, no, I'm going to fucking go to New York and I'm going to meet Mr. Big. And, I think as a kid, you kind of have these grand ideas of what your soulmate would be instead of the person that keeps coming in and out of your life. I mean, we kept orbiting each other. And I would think about him when we weren't together. He thought about me when we weren't together. There was always something. And having children with him, especially seeing him with Walker and what a wonderful dad he was. And we did wait. My divorce was finalized and we waited a few months to get married because we both wanted to make sure that we were not doing this because we had a baby together. We were not doing this because of anyone else's expectations. Drew takes everything he does very seriously. I will rush into everything. That man will weigh the pros and cons. And if he is doing something, he is doing it 100% and he means it. So we waited and we got married. Walker was 9 or 10 months old. I never pictured myself being the girl that got married with my kid there. Like, that wasn't how I was raised, but it's also really special, like seeing those pictures where Walker was at our wedding and, he and Drew were making faces and how young we looked. And that's it. We look so young. This was 15 years ago now. And we've worked so hard. I mean, we had Walker. We lived in a condo that his parents owned. Then we loved Agritopia. We would drive around. And I think that at that time in our lives too, everything was, it'll be better when. Oh, life will be really good and start when we live in Agritopia. Life will really start when we make this amount of money. And we kept waiting for someday. That was a lot of the beginning of our marriage, was someday. Someday this will be easier. Someday this will be better. We always loved each other. But I mean, I was starting the prescription pills. I was already kind of changing from who I was, from who he fell in love with, who he kept coming back, and kind of turning into this other person. And the pills killed my sex drive after Walker. I thought maybe it was kids, but it was the pills. And that was an issue. And thank God he never cheated or did anything. I mean, 10 years, he probably had the right to, but I really appreciate that he didn't do that. And I feel bad too, because I totally turned into somebody that he didn't marry. I turned into my mother, who he does not want to be married to. And in that, by saying I turned into my mother, I became secretive. I hid money. I spent money. I was taking prescription pills. I would lie about how many I was taking. I would go talk to my parents and get money from them for stuff. And Drew would go to his parents too. And that's the other lesson that we really learned, was you cannot let anyone else in your marriage. It needs to be just the two of you. You can't be asking mommy and daddy's advice. You can't be asking your friends for everything. I'm even going to have a hot take. All the people that are like, it's me, you, and Jesus, like, you are weaponizing Jesus at that point to get what you want and to be better than the other one. I don't know. A marriage should just be you two. And there shouldn't be any talk of third parties and anything. And like I said, I'm not anti-Jesus, but if you're like, well, Jesus wishes you would clean out the dishwasher more, like, no, just it's you two, and your faith can bring you together, but don't be in a throuple with Jesus, is what I'm saying. Don't be in a throuple with Jesus. He doesn't need that. You don't need that. So when I got off the pill, I mean, that was our breaking point. I had been on the pills for 10 years. I mean, things were really bad. I was on the antipsychotic, so I was a literal zombie. And it was posed to me like, look, either you figure out how to stop this or we can't be a family anymore. And I need to do what's best for the boys. And Drew has always done what's best for the boys. I've always appreciated that about him. And I was also sick of my own bullshit. I think that's the only time that you get better is you have to be sick of your own bullshit. I was sick of myself. I didn't like what I was doing. I didn't like who I'd become. So it was kind of like as scary as it was to live without that stuff. This is killing me. It was literally killing me. And every day sitting in my car at work before going into Victoria's Secret, just with that dread feeling. I lived with that dread feeling in my stomach for like 3, 4 years. And that really wears on you and your cortisol level. And like I didn't feel good and I was grumpy. And it just I didn't love myself. And what they say is so true. Until you love yourself, you can't love anybody else. Because when I wasn't loving myself, I wasn't there for him. Like, I mean, I was doing everything I could to get through day to day being a mess. And I wasn't a good spouse. I wasn't there for him emotionally. Anything he was going through, it was kind of our fights were about the pills. I would give up really easy because I knew I was wrong. Like I said, our sex life was diminishing. So going off the pills, having that ultimatum, that is really when I feel like we turned a corner because I remember like watching it was the One Tree Hill finale and like Haley and Nathan were like in the rain kissing and like so in love still. And I do remember, and I've told him this, so this isn't a secret. I said, I remember being envious or being like, oh, we aren't like that, and kind of sad about it. And now that we've done the work, I totally feel that way. And I've never been more in love with him. And I would go walk in the rain and kiss him and all that stuff. But I mean, at that point, things were broken. I was broken. He was broken. We weren't communicating. We tried couples counseling, but even then I was like, don't tell him about the pills because I was embarrassed. So all we talked about was how messy the house was. And the house was a mess. Like the house reflected my mental state. Absolutely. Like there's trash. Like it just, I was such a wreck and so depressed that everything felt too much. I couldn't clean the house. And I would tell Drew, like, when I got the house with Ryan, like I cleaned on my days off, like the house was clean. And I think that he didn't really believe me because I never put my money where my mouth was from the moment we got together. And now that he sees, he's like, okay, you were telling the truth. I'm like, yeah, well, I took a really fucking long detour from that person. But so the house was a mess. Our marriage was like, it was just, it's a lot and it weighs on you. And also in those moments, I felt like we weren't coming to each other. I would take the pills. I would do whatever deal, spend money. He was doing his thing. Even with Beckett and his open heart surgery, we didn't come home and sit and talk about it and how each of us were feeling. It was very, let's talk about something else. Let's kind of pretend this isn't happening. So things weren't getting resolved. Even going to couples counseling, we talked about who should clean the house. Like it wasn't these huge breakdowns of communication that we were having getting fixed. I dealt really heavily with all of this with my therapist individually, going through withdrawal, going through getting better, and really understanding what it meant to work on my marriage. Because I remember before that, I'd hear people say, marriage is work. And I never liked that. And I was like, well, that's really shitty. But I just didn't understand. Everything's work. Even this is work. And I love doing this, but this is work. Marriage is work. And by work, I mean, it is figuring out that other person's things and being able to support them completely with that. Like Drew has ADHD. So in being a good partner, it's realizing these are the things that set him off. This is how his brain works. So this is how I need to communicate with him. This is not work like you need to make all these compromises and not be who you are. But the work is in being the best partner for your partner and kind of catering to what they need in the same way that they should be catering to what you need. So like my PMDD, he knows if I come to him and I'm like, it's PMDD time, I need him to lay on me. I need him to tell me he loves me. Like that's work, but he wants to do it because he loves me and wants his wife alive. And that's what I don't think some people want to invest. Or I'll watch shows where like the husband's like yelling at her and stuff, or even like there's a Noah Cyrus song, July, where one of the lines is like, you remind me all the time I'm not enough, but I still stay. And I say to that, fuck that. If you are with someone, male, female, doesn't matter, that is constantly saying shit to you, then you need to turn it around on them and say, then why the fuck are you with me? If I am all of these things, then why are you with me? Are you settling? Are you a loser? Are you fucking turn it around on them? Because whoever you are, what you deserve in a significant other is someone that thinks they won the fucking lottery. That's what your partner should think, is that they won the lottery because they get to go through life with you. I feel that way about Drew. I love him. He has made all of my dreams come true. He has been there for me when no one else was. He was the first person to truly show me unconditional love. And he makes me want to be the best version of myself. And I want him to be the best version of himself. And that's what you should aspire to. Someone that sees you as a fixer upper is not your person. And timing is everything. Like I said, we're on our third go around. Like, I didn't think he was the one at 15. I didn't think he was the one at 18. And even at 24, like, I made this decision and it was scary. Now I'm 40 years old. We're 15 years into a marriage. We have a almost 16-year-old and a 9-year-old. I mean, we've owned houses, we've taken trips, we have been through the ringer and we have been through the gamut. But the fact that we love each other now more than ever and trust each other, and that was, our fights used to get very, never physical, but there would be stomping, there would be yelling, there would be me getting a bag and threatening to leave, and each of us threatening divorce. And that was the other thing, is we nipped it in the bud and we said, look, we're going to fight fair. And by fair, we are not, we're like, we are never getting divorced. There is never going to be an issue that is so big that we can't work through it that we will get divorced. So every fight, we need to go in needing to resolve this because we love each other and want to be with each other. And when you go too far or you make statements that you won't do or anything like that, it damages it. And that's what I tell him. And I actually tell my kids too. I'm like, in a fight, my love for you, I may be pissed, I may be yelling at you, I may be saying things to you, but you have to understand my love does not change. That love bar is full for you if you're pissing me off or not, because those are circumstantial. This is not my love for you. And my love for you is unconditional. And that means a fight is not going to change it. That doesn't mean I'm happy with your behavior. That doesn't mean I'm not going to fight with you. But you don't need to ever be worried that anything you are going to do will make me love you less. Because that's when people hide things. That's when people don't, because you're scared of them looking at you differently. But when you have the courage to say, I love you, warts and all, and I'm here and we will figure it out together. And nothing is so major that's worth losing you. And there's such a security in that, and such a, I see a beauty in it. And I could be stating the obvious, like, you shouldn't threaten divorce. Like, I'm sure a lot of people are like, yeah, no, I would never do any of this. But there are a lot of marriages that are not good. There are a lot of marriages that haven't figured this out. And I'm always fascinated. I want to know why they got married. I want to know why they stay together. Like, and I do know why they stay together. I was reading an article today and it said, like, divorce is decimating millennials. Like, we are fucked. The economy is bad. Like, we are all living on dual incomes. So many. It was one thing back in the day when it was one income and you get divorced and they get some of it anyway. And like, no, now all of us are too fucking broke to get divorced. So you may as well make the most of it and really work on it. And I think it all comes from a place of conversing and understanding and loving. And it's, once again, it comes back to a place of loving yourself. And until I loved myself and wanted what was best for me, my marriage was never going to be what it should be because I wasn't myself. And that's really hard to look back and see how different I was and know how different I was and how hard that had to be for him. And I still apologize and say, I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. I'm sorry that you had to go through all this alone. Or, he'll be like, I don't know why I'm having all this anxiety now. And I'm like, well, before you were in survival mode, You were in, I have to hold this together for everybody because she is not holding it together at all. And now that I am there to share the weight and the burden, you don't have to carry this alone anymore. And in able to do that, then he was able to start to work through his things. He grew up really Christian, like didn't celebrate Halloween because it's the devil's holiday Christian. And it never seemed right that that was him, but it's what he was indoctrinated to. It was what he had to do to make his parents happy. And in going off the pills and him admitting, like, I don't think I'm a Christian. This doesn't align with what I believe in. This doesn't make me happy. In fact, trying to do that and failing is making me want to die. And saying, I don't like this either. I was only trying for you. Like, I thought that would make your mom like me if I pretended to be Christian, but I never was. I had very different views of church and God and everything from the way I grew up. And being able to support him through that and be like, no, you're not bad. You're not going to hell. It doesn't work for you, and finding meditation and the things that did work for us that he was always searching for before we were together. And I know his mom wouldn't pick me as a daughter-in-law. Not a chance. She loves she loves you. That's what he was. I know she loves me. I'm not going anywhere. I'm a good mom. I love her son. He's happy, but me not being Christian, I bet that keeps her up at night every day. He tried to date girls like that. They ghosted him. They were bitches. They were weird. Like, he tried to be the good little boy that they wanted him to be, and it never worked. And I think that finding the right spouse is also finding someone that wants you to be the truest version of yourself and the best version of yourself that you want to be, and kind of giving him that freedom to be like, I don't have any religious expectations on you. Figure out what works for you. Like, I want you to be happy and not feel bad about yourself every day. And he supported me in switching jobs. He supported me in quitting my job. He supported me in starting this. The most important thing too for a marriage is you have to be married to someone you are friends with. It can't just be physical. You need to be laughing with them. You need to enjoy your time with them. If I had a choice of one person, I could only see one person the rest of my life and spend time with them. It would be Drew. I love my kids. I love them to death, but he is my partner. He is a person that makes me feel safe. He is a person that makes me happy. And we should all strive for that. Like, when I read people be like, oh, soulmates don't exist or that true, none of that. No, people can't stay in love forever. I'm like, well, you just haven't found it. And that's really sad because also you're really making generalizations that aren't accurate. I found it. I found my soulmate. I know we've been together in every lifetime. I will always find him. He will always find me. It exists. You just haven't found it. It's no different than, like, I read about these couples that like go to swingers clubs, or they're like, oh, I fuck my best friend's husband. Like, I can't wrap my head around it. I have tried for years. I am a jealous bitch and I am not sharing. And it also, I think it amuses Drew. It amuses myself too, because I was, kind of slutty in high school and college, and definitely had sex with people I didn't know. But the thought of that now, like, once you've had true intimacy, once you've had that connection with somebody, the thought of just like sex grosses me out. And I feel like an old lady prude even saying that. Like, young Sarah did, come on. Like, I just don't get it. I can't wrap my head around emotionally how you can love someone and they're your person and be okay. Like, I can't distinguish sex from love at this point. Like, to me, it's one and the same. Whereas before, sex was a means to an end. Sex was going to make them like me. Sex was going to make me get out of my head, all that. And now it's just so tied to intimacy. And I couldn't just have a one night stand. I couldn't, single. Like, I don't want to cheat on Drew, but none of that. And I don't know if that's to my age or my relationship or what that is, but I don't know. Sex just is more serious to me now. And I think that I treated it very flip. I watched Sex in the City. I was going to be Samantha, and I am not. I am much more of a Charlotte. Even Charlotte got around. But yeah, I think the older I get, the more I crave that. And I also used to be that person when I was on the drugs. And before that would be like, if Drew died, I'd get remarried in a year. I was like, I can't be alone. Like I thought I would get remarried right away, all that stuff. And as time has gone on, I would not. If something happens to him, God forbid, because that's the only reason we wouldn't be together, I am never getting married again. I have had my husband. I have had my husband of this lifetime. Anything that I could want to accomplish in that realm, I have. And he's the love of my life. He is, and I'm sure that I could meet a man that I would have fun with, and it would be a partnership. It would be Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. It would be Sam Rockwell and Leslie Bibb. It would be, you're my partner. I love you. We have sex. Like we travel, holidays. Like I'm your emergency contact. You're my emergency contact. But no one but Drew will ever be able to call me their wife. I feel like that is fulfilled for myself forever now. And while I wouldn't want to be alone, I also know that part of my growth would be not getting remarried, not jumping right in and thinking that I need someone. I know now that I am enough on my own. I know that I'm a prize and no one would ever be able to convince me differently. No one else will ever be able to call me mine like that. And no shade on people that do. Like I said, I used to feel like I would absolutely get remarried. Like, can't be single, all that. But now I wouldn't, like, what would be the point of marrying them? We wouldn't be sharing children. I'm closed for business. I don't want kids with anybody else, and he didn't help me earn any of this money that we have. Drew and I have built this from the ground up from when we were two broke 23-year-olds getting together till now. All of this we've earned and worked on, and his books and stuff. And I'm not going to let some little Pop Tart dude that I might enjoy traveling the world with and sleeping with, spend my husband's legacy. That is mine. I'm not mixing finances with anybody ever again. Like so many of those things, this is just it. And I fully do, like, I don't understand couples that have separate finances. Like that to me it's weird. Like married, what do you like? Oh, give me your half of the mortgage. Like, and if your spouse is so irresponsible with money that you have to have separate, why don't you two go to counseling and work on that together so they get better with money? That to me is like you have an out. And I will say that for my parents. All the money was theirs. Everything was joint. I was raised understanding that. And any money I make is Drew's money. And I never thought of it when I was working as my money. It's for the family. Things like that always just, I'm like, there's an out there. And I also understand, like, trad wives. We know I'm very anti trad wife. Me quitting my job and doing this and trusting Drew was the biggest challenge. It was so hard because there was always that fear in the back of my mind that I wouldn't have an out. I wouldn't have a safety net. But I trust him and I don't need one. So I guess I say the money thing with a caveat of make sure that you have an out. You know what I mean? Like be all in, but be thoughtful about it. Like it don't like these stay-at-home girlfriends, what the fuck is that now? Like nobody wants to work. Really deep down, like everybody would love to be on vacation all the time. Everyone would love to be millionaires and not have to worry about those things. Like stay-at-home girlfriend. Also, what value are you bring? Like, do you not understand that stay-at-home moms get cheated on? The husband comes home and they're cheating with the people that have jobs that have something interesting to talk about that interests them. Like, stay at home girlfriend, you are not doing anything but a disservice to yourself, and stand on your own 2 feet. And I've seen a lot of younger girls that I would work with really rush into these relationships. And like one got married at 23, and I was just like, you're so young. And I know I got married even younger than that, but hindsight, you're so young. Experience your life. I don't regret anything. I don't even regret my shitty first marriage because I learned so much about myself, and I feel like it did help me be a better spouse to Drew. It was kind of like a trial run where anything I messed up. Like I could do over with the real one, but I just wish I went and got an apartment with a girlfriend. I wish that I stood on my own 2 feet and was alone. Not regret, just like I said, like a light wish. Like I wish I would have had someone nudge me in that direction instead of everybody just kind of letting me make this mistake. But everything worked out. I am more in love with my husband than I ever have been. We just celebrated our 15-year wedding anniversary in the Maldives. We have 2 beautiful children. We have community. We have friends. We have a life. We have businesses that we have built together. But it was a long road to get here. And there were potholes and there were things to work on and there was give and there was take. But for the right person, it's totally worth it. Just don't set yourself on fire to make someone else warm. Like I said, if somebody doesn't think that they won the fucking lottery having you, then is that really the person that you want? If they are not singing your praises in the room when you aren't there, is that who you want as your number two? Is that who has your back? Like if they're talking shit about you, anything like that, like there are issues. And I just really wonder why some people stay together. Do they not think they're worthy of love? I guess I don't know. And I would love to hear from people about it. But you really, really have to invest in yourself and in your marriage. And you owe it to your kids. And I do feel also very blessed, privileged, whatever you want to say. A lot of Walker's friends are divorced, parents are divorced, and my parents weren't divorced, Drew's parents weren't divorced. We were raising our boys, no divorce in the house. So everyone is really fortunate that they haven't had that. But also don't stay in a bad marriage for the kids. That I 100% do not agree with. Because even when our kids hear us fighting, they hear us making up. They see the repairs. They see us changing and adapting. And that's what I want to show them. Parents that never fight in front of their kids, you're not teaching them anything. You kind of have to teach them how to fight fair. And also I want my kids to have a very real view of me, of my marriage. I don't want this to be put mommy on a pedestal and then someday you realize mommy was full of shit, or you're holding yourself to standards that are impossible because no one can reach them, but it's because you thought what I did. Like I fuck up. I have fucked up as a wife. I have fucked up as a mom, but I'm always going to be transparent about that. And I'm always going to apologize and try better. That's all you can do in this life. So this week, everybody really ruminate on what makes you happy. Maybe you do something nice for your spouse. Maybe figure out what their love language is. And maybe you like presents, but they like words of affirmation. And you need to do a little bit more of that. So some homework, help your spouse out. Do some nice things. And most importantly, don't forget to make today your bitch.